Hello everyone, welcome to today's video on writing and evaluating expressions. Expressions is a mathematical term I know you've heard at lots of times before. You've seen lots of expressions even if you forget how they're defined. An algebraic expression is a mathematical phrase containing numbers and or variables. It just doesn't have an equal sign or an inequality sign. Okay, so like 2 plus 2 is an expression. 2 plus 2 equals 4, that's an equation. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at both writing expressions and then evaluating them. Let's look at an example. For example 1a, we're going to be writing an expression based on this word problem. So we're told that Taylor buys ties at Target, which cost $8 each. They have a coupon for $5 off the total price of their purchase. Write an equation that represents the final amount they pay for X ties. So X here is a variable. Remember, a variable is just a letter or a symbol we use to represent one number or multiple possible numbers. Lots of different numbers can be represented by a variable. That's why they're really useful. Okay, so we want to be able to figure out how much Taylor is paying at Target if they buy 10 ties, if they buy 2 ties, if they buy 150 ties. Using a variable allows us to do that. Okay, so let's try to write that expression. So I created a little table here to help me see this. I'm not expecting every time you try to write an expression that you create this table, but I do think it'll be pretty helpful in our early stages of understanding where we're getting our expressions from. Okay, so on the left I have the number of ties bought, or what's going to be X. In the middle I have my expression that I'm going to use to figure out then how much is Taylor paying, and then the last one is going to be how much are they paying? What's the total amount? Okay. All right, so let me pick a number. Let's say that Taylor buys 1 tie. That's a good, easy one to start. So now we need to figure out, okay, if Taylor bought 1 tie and then they have a coupon that's $5 off, how much do they pay overall? Okay, well, how much does each tie cost? Yeah, each tie costs $8 right here. $8 each. Okay, so if $8 each, then it's going to be $8, and I'm going to need to multiply that by the 1 tie that I bought. And then what's happening here when they have a coupon that's $5 off? So if you take $5 off a price, what operation would that be when you're taking something away? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division? Yeah, it's going to be subtraction. When you're taking away $5 off the price, you're subtracting it away. So then I'm just going to subtract 5, and that should give me my total price. If I buy 1 tie, that's $8. It's $8. 8 times 1 minus 5. What's 8 minus 5? Yep, 8 minus 5 is 3. Okay, let's try another one. I have 2 ties. Okay, so the first thing I should figure out is before that discount, how much does Taylor pay for 2 ties? So if ties are $8 each, or $8 per tie, then I can figure out the cost of 2 by doing 8 times 2, or 8 plus 8. $8 for the first tie, $8 for the second tie. Doing 8, I'm multiplying by 2. What's 8 times 2? 16. Great. So I have $16 that Taylor's originally going to pay for a tie. Then I need to subtract away $5 because that's how much the coupon's taking. 8 times 2 minus 5. So I'm doing 16 minus 5. What is 16 minus 5? Great, 16 minus 5 is 11. Awesome. So if Taylor buys 2 ties, they're going to end up paying $11. All right, let's try another one. So now let's do 3 ties. So same idea. To find 3 ties, I'm going to need to multiply 3 times $8. Why am I doing that? Well, if it's $8 for my first tie, that's $8. Then I have another $8 for my second tie, 8 plus 8. And then now I have a third tie, I have 8 plus 8 plus 8. 8 plus 8 plus 8, same thing as 8 times 3. Okay, so you multiply the number of ties times the cost of each tie. Okay, when you do 8 times 3, what do you get? 24. Yep, so then I'm going to have $24. That's how much Taylor is paying on the ties. We can't forget about the fact that Taylor has that coupon. So we still have to subtract 5 away from that. Okay, so we need to figure out what's 24, 8 times 3, 24, minus 5. What is 24 minus 5? Yep, 19. Great. Okay, so my 3 ties here, that would end up costing Taylor $19. All right, so then the last thing, which is actually what this question is really asking us to do, is then writing an expression that represents the final amount that Taylor's going to pay for X ties. So we don't know if it's 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 or 100 or 1,000, right? But we can figure out there's a pattern going on, we can see in our expression so far, that's going to allow us to write this general expression, which is really great. So instead of having 1, 2, or 3, I'm going to have X. I don't know how many it is, but it could represent any number. Okay, looking at my pattern here, every time what I did is I multiplied the cost of each tie, 8, times X, the number of ties I bought. Instead of multiplying by 3 or 2 or 1, I'm going to multiply by X. That's the number of ties that I'm buying. Even though it doesn't look like a number, a variable is just representing a number, or multiple numbers. Then I'm going to keep the rest the same. Once I figure out how much I pay for my ties, before the coupon, I have to subtract $5 away. So then that's it. That is the expression. That's the answer. There's not a numerical value for this, and that's pretty important. We'll see more, like you can't turn that into 3x or something. That's not true. No, this is my answer then. So my total price, the expression that represents the final amount that Taylor's going to pay, is 8x, or 8 times x, minus 5. Okay, a quick notation. We could put parentheses around that x like we did here, because that's representing multiplication. But when we have a number next to a variable, that automatically, notation-wise, this means multiplication, so you don't need the parentheses. All right, so we're actually going to continue with this to look at some very related practice for now, evaluating expressions. We just wrote an expression, now let's evaluate one. Okay, so now we have example B, which is going off the expression that we just wrote. So we just wrote the expression 8x minus 5 to represent the total price that Taylor will pay based on the number of ties that they buy. Now use that expression, to find the cost they will pay if they buy 7 ties, 11 ties, and 100 ties. Okay, so it's really 3 different problems here. So this is the usefulness of an expression. Now we can use our general expression to find the cost for lots of different number of ties. 7 ties, let's start there. Okay, so if they're telling me 7 ties, an important thing to know then is 7, that's going to be representing my x. Why does that represent my x? So x is the number of ties that I buy. Right, that's what we used. We figured that out when we wrote the expression. The number of ties that we bought, that represented x. If I want to figure out how much 7 ties is going to cost, then what I need to do is I need to substitute in 7 for x. What does substitute mean? It's a really, really important math term. So if you think about when I'm sick, or one of your other teachers are sick and we're out of school, who takes our place? A substitute teacher. So a substitute teacher, or a sub, is replacing the normal teacher for a class while the other teacher is sick. So that's what the word substitute means. It means like fill in for or replace. So what's going to happen here is 7 is going to substitute in for x, replace x with 7. All right, let me show you how that looks. So I keep everything else the same. I'm going to not touch the rest of my expression. And then I need to substitute in 7 for x. Now, when I substitute something in, this is an important tricky thing, is I want to do that in parentheses, okay? Because otherwise, I might think that when I substitute in 7, this thing becomes 87. But that's not true, because what this means is 8 times x. It's clear that I'm substituting 7 so that I get 8 times 7. Okay, so this is 8 times 7 minus 5. And then I just need to evaluate the expression, finish evaluating to figure out what I get. So what is 8 times 7? 8 times 7 is 56. Okay, so I have to do multiplication first to evaluate this expression. 8 times 7 is 56, and then I'm going to subtract 5. So to get my final amount that Taylor pays, then I just have to subtract 56 minus 5. What's 56 minus 5? Yep, 51. So that's going to be the cost that Taylor will pay if they buy 7 ties. Okay, so now we have 11 ties. So we're going to do the exact same thing with 11. What we're doing here is we are evaluating this expression, 8x minus 5, when we have 11 ties. Okay, so that's what evaluating in the expression means. So I rewrote my expression here, and then I want to evaluate my expression for x is equal to 11. Okay, so now I'm going to do just like what I did before. I'm going to rewrite all the parts of my expression that do not have to do with x, that don't have to do with the variable that I'm evaluating. Evaluate this expression for x equals 11, so I'm going to substitute in 11 where I had x. In other words, I'm replacing x with 11, again with parentheses rounded to remind ourselves that we're multiplying. So what this means is x times 11 minus 5. So let's then figure that out. What is 8 times 11? That's going to give us 88. And then I need to subtract 5. Okay, 88 minus 5, that is equal to 83. So if Taylor goes to the Target and buys 11 ties, they're going to end up paying $83. $88 for the ties themselves, and then we subtract $5 for that coupon that they had. All right, so now we have our last one. We want to figure out how much Taylor would pay if they bought 100 ties. Okay, so you go ahead and try that. Substitute in 100 for x and evaluate the expression, simplify, see what you get. Okay, so when you do that, you should get $795. Whenever Taylor's buying 100 ties, we're going to have to multiply the number of ties, x, which is 100, which we substituted in for x, times $8, the cost per tie, or the cost for each tie. That gives us $800, but then we have to subtract $5 away because of that coupon, so we do minus 5. 800 minus 5 is going to give us $795. Great job, everyone!